They laughed, not behind her back, right to her face. In the locker room, in the parking lot, even out on patrol. Her uniform didn't fit like theirs. Her accent, different. Her silence, too loud for their liking. "Hey, rookie," they sneered. "Did you borrow that badge from a costume shop?" She never answered, not with words. But her eyes, they held storms. Every shift she walked in like a shadow, seen but never really known, until the day she rolled up her sleeve. And that one tattoo changed everything. It wasn't a butterfly. It wasn't some trendy ink. No, it was a symbol that made one sergeant drop his coffee, another backpedal mid-sentence, because suddenly she wasn't just the new girl in uniform anymore. She was someone else entirely. The whispers started before the next roll call. "Did you see it? That mark, it looked military. No way, she's just a beat cop." But no one dared ask her, not directly. Even the loudest mouths turned soft, because the tattoo wasn't just ink. It was a seal, a crest used by an elite classified force, one the department barely knew existed. How did she get that? How did a woman they all mocked, with the same mark seen only on top secret operatives? Then came the day the chief called her in, closed door meeting. 3 hours. No one knew what was said, but when she walked out, she wasn't assigned traffic duty anymore. She had access to everything: surveillance rooms, high-level briefings. She had clearance. And just like that, the joke stopped. But the fear, that had only begun. A week later, patrol routes changed, assignments reshuffled, and officers who once ridiculed her were now being placed under her command. It made no sense. She was the youngest on the force, barely spoke, never bragged. But now, she carried a silent authority, like she knew secrets no one else dared uncover, like she'd seen things they couldn't even imagine. Still, some couldn't help themselves. They whispered louder. One officer said, "She's got to be sleeping with someone high up." Another laughed. "Maybe that tattoo's fake, just a scare tactic." Until the night of the warehouse raid. She volunteered to go in first, alone. No one stopped her, because no one could. The rest of the unit stayed back, watching through body cam feed. What they saw shook them to their core. She moved with precision, like she had trained for war. 10 armed men, disarmed, tied up, without a single shot fired. When backup arrived, it was already over. She stood calmly, her collar slightly shifted, exposing that tattoo again, still glowing red from the heat of the mission. And suddenly, everyone wanted to know, who was she, and what exactly had she done before joining their little town force? Rumors turned into reports. Reports turned into files. But every time someone tried to dig, they hit a wall. No history, no training academy listed, no previous stations. It was like she just appeared. Captain Daniels, a hardened veteran with 25 years in the field, decided to confront her. In his office, under dim lights, he asked bluntly, "Who sent you?" She didn't blink, didn't smile, just leaned in, calmly replying, "I was always here. You just weren't looking." He froze, because that line, that's what his old partner used to say. The one who died 10 years ago in a classified op overseas. Daniels dismissed her, but that night, he went home and unlocked his safe. Inside, a dusty folder labeled Operation Umbra. And on the first page, a surveillance photo. Date, 2009. Location, unlisted. The photo showed a woman. Same height, same eyes, same tattoo. But that was impossible, because that photo was taken 16 years ago, and the woman in it hadn't aged a day. He stared at the image for hours, haunted, until he finally whispered, "She's not one of us, is she?" He didn't sleep that night, and when he came back to the station the next morning, the folder was gone, vanished. No break-in, no evidence, no trace, just a note left on his desk, handwritten in sharp black ink. Some things are better left buried. She turned sharply, the street still echoing with the shout behind her. A second police officer stepped forward, hand resting on his belt, eyes scanning her up and down. "Ma'am, we asked you to stop." She paused, half in defiance, half in disbelief. Her voice didn't shake, but her eyes did. "I'm just going home. That's all. What did I do?" But no one answered her question. Instead, the senior officer moved closer, eyes narrowed. "Show me your ID. Now!" She reached slowly into her pocket, but before she could pull anything out, one of them shouted, "Don't move!" Her arms froze mid-motion. It wasn't about what she was doing. It was about what they thought she might do. And in that moment, she realized this wasn't just about her clothes or her timing or her face. This was about something deeper. She was no longer a person in their eyes. She was a threat. The tension rippled through the air like a taut wire about to snap. "I said hands where I can see them," one officer barked. She slowly raised her hands, fingers trembling, not with fear, with rage, but not the kind that screamed, the kind that waited. Behind her, a police car rolled to a stop, lights still flashing, its presence adding weight to the moment. Two more officers stepped out, forming a loose circle around her. She wasn't running. She wasn't yelling. And yet, they acted like she'd already fired a shot. A bystander across the street raised their phone to record, but the girl's eyes never left the officer in front of her. "You think I'm dangerous?" she asked quietly. The officer didn't blink. "Ma'am, don't test me." That was it. No explanation. No reason. Just suspicion dressed in uniform. And as they moved closer, reaching for her wrists, she whispered under her breath, "You're going to regret this." But they didn't hear it. Or maybe they chose not to. And then silence. For the first time, the girl didn't have a comeback. She didn't protest. She didn't resist. She just slowly lifted her eyes and locked them with the officers. The tension was sharp enough to slice through metal. And in that quiet, the officer noticed something. A shimmer of ink peeking from beneath the girl's collar. Just a tattoo, right? But no, not just ink. It was a code, one the officer recognized instantly. It belonged to a covert unit, disbanded years ago, a group of undercover operatives, marked only by that symbol. Her breath hitched. This girl wasn't just someone walking home. She had history, clearance, and a mission. But why was she silent now? "Who sent you?" the officer whispered, not in anger, but with sudden caution. The girl gave a half smile and said, "You already know the answer, but asking out loud was your first mistake." And just like that, the roles reversed. The cold metal of the handcuffs clicked around her wrists. A crowd had begun to form. Phones up, eyes locked, but the officers didn't care. They had what they thought they wanted, control, until she turned slightly, and the collar of her uniform slipped, just enough. A symbol beneath her skin emerged. A tattoo, not just ink. It shimmered faintly in the daylight, an unmistakable mark, not of rebellion, but of authority, the emblem of a federal intelligence division, one only a select few had the clearance to even recognize. Gasps rippled through the crowd. One officer took a step back. Her eyes, they no longer pleaded. They warned. "You just arrested the wrong woman," she said, voice calm yet razor sharp. The silence was deafening. One of the junior officers stammered, "Wait, you're with—" She nodded slowly. "Yeah, I am," and then added, "And trust me, this won't be forgotten. The badge number, the names, the treatment, every second recorded, not just by bystanders, but by her team already en route." She wasn't the girl they thought she was. She was more, much more, and now they were the ones in trouble.